Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Okay.
What a day.
Big intro.
Big intro. I mean, it's a big day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's random. Friday the 13th. Scary day, Steve.
Yes. Would have been my dad's 91st birthday.
Oh.
Would have been. Right? But this is also a milestone day for the show.
Mm-hmm.
It is show number 100.
Mm-hmm. That it is.
And this will be a disgrace like the other 99, so
of
let's
course.
get to it.
But at least there's no Jason on episode 100.
Oh, might as well drip water on my forehead.
What a time. What a time to be alive. But also, what a sports day it was yesterday. Because a lot happened. A lot was going on in the sports world. And I want to start off, if we may, with baseball. The big topic of discussion being what happened yesterday with the Phillies beating the Braves. Mm-hmm. Another 100-win team gone. Out of the playoffs.
This has nothing to do with the outcome. But explain to me how he checked it, how he went around on the pitch on the last pitch. He didn't even come close. Mm-mm. And they never showed a replay of it. Like, it had nothing to do with the outcome. But like the kid barely moved the bat.
They almost wanted to get out of there.
We're done. Let's leave. And not only that, TBS didn't show a replay of it. They always got every look at this. Nope.
They were like, we're out of here.
We're done.
A big talking point from at least game 3 was what happened in the Braves locker room with Orlando Arcia saying attaboy Harper and all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it happened in the clubhouse, and a couple media members caught it, one of them being Jake Mintz from Fox Sports, who is a member of the BBWAA, Baseball Writers of America. Mm-hmm. And he got a lot of stick from certain personalities on the MLB network as well, is where a lot of it happened with Alana Rizzo. Yep. Can I ask, as someone who does not get that access or is not ever in that environment, is there an expectation of you're never going to print things you hear? It's not like he made a headline out of it. It was the 21st paragraph of his entire story. It was just a mention there. And people went off and said, how dare you? The Braves were like, how dare he put this in his article? And it's like, well, he heard it in the locker room while he was there with recorders on.
All right. There's 2 parts to this. Okay. So let's take the part that the clubhouse is sacred. Well, when nobody's around, when I mean no media, the clubhouse is sacred. What happens in the clubhouse stays in the clubhouse. Or what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. Now, I'm in a different position. We all know that. In fact, James and I were talking about that last night before practice. And so I see, whether it's in practices or the locker room, whatever, some of it's funny, some of it's like, what are you doing? You know, right? And it stays there, right? It stays there. I mean, over the years, over the decades I've been out there on a practice field or on a basketball court in a practice, have I ever seen punches exchanged or things? Of course I have. It happens once in a great while, but what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's different. When practice is open to the media or the clubhouse is open to the media, now locker room here is not open. They bring players out to a media room and interview room. But baseball hasn't had that practice, nor does the NFL. I think the NBA is now closing locker rooms.
They are. They've begun closing them, bringing players out so they can kind of have it be more sacred, I guess.
Yes. In other words, because the area where in baseball used to be the sanctuary was the training room. Nobody's allowed in the training room. So when Steve Carlton, for example, was with the Phillies, he would just sit in the training room because he never wanted to talk to the media. Ever. He would just sit there and wait till they were all gone. But when people are there, whether it's attending practice on Wednesday for the 3 periods they're allowed to be in, or you're getting clubhouse or locker room access, because I've been in NFL locker rooms before. It's fair game at that point. It's fair game. Now, who cares about attaboy Harper? If that's what takes you to fired up, gets the fan base all fired up, whatever. That's perfectly fine. It's all part of the tension, the rivalry of it. You know, look what we did. We get to play the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's like, okay, great. I see a pathway to the World Series.
Yeah, I wonder, like, part of this for me is the attaboy Harper thing. Got him motivated, fired up. Were the Braves so terrified of a fired up Harper that this was a problem? Like, if you couldn't beat Bryce Harper fired up, then that's on you.
Well, here's my part. Bryce Harper was fired up anyway. Bryce Harper is one of those players. I'll give you two examples. I love how Acuna plays the game. So please, this is not anti-Acuna. But for example, Acuna hits a ground ball the second, and he like last night he just stopped running. Okay, Harper would have run through the thing. The same way that Olsen, by the way, tried to run through first base on that play, and he hurt Harper on the play. Olsen did nothing wrong except sprint his brains out, get there, you know, and try to somehow beat it out for his team and stayed in the baseline the whole time. So he did nothing wrong. It just Harper took his arm and swung it back a little bit, you know, just as a natural thing. Right? So there's nothing wrong with the play. But Harper does everything full speed. The bottom line is this. One team hit 11 home runs, and the other team scored 8 runs. Guess which team won?
I wonder.
You know, one team hit 11 home runs. The other team scored a total of 8 runs. And, you know, and, I mean, you can do the T-shirts and the whole thing. That's fine. That's fine. Most of the T-shirts will end up being donated to third world countries anyway because they'll overprint them. There'll be some kid running around, right, someplace else in the world with an attaboy Harper, and everybody's like, I don't know what that means. It's like, what do they do with the Final Four T-shirts of the teams that don't win?
So the Braves NLCS or NLDS champ shirts.
The World Series champion Phillies from last year. They're all running around in different places all over the place. So it is, when the clubhouse is open, the rules change. It's now fair game in the clubhouse the entire time because now you're granting access. The second the door is shut, it's not as if another player or the trainer or the equipment manager or somebody said, hey, you can't believe what he said. He said, attaboy Harper. That's violating the sanctity of the clubhouse, of the locker room. So when there's no media around, okay,
there is a safety.
What happens there stays there. At least that's what it has to be. Practice, whatever happens there stays there. That's why people do ask me about practice all the time. And do I do it in generalities? Yeah, I do it in generalities. I got to get into some, unless there's something really good going on. You're like, okay, right.
Or if I see something ridiculous where you're like, this specific thing happened and it was just wild.
Yeah. And a lot of times, James will bring something up and then you can amplify on it. Okay. But yeah, it's your sanctuary when the media is not allowed. And I don't mean doors shut, because you can have the doors open and everything, but the media is not allowed in there. Because you got to go through the dugout, then down the runway just to get there. And the media can be around the batting cage, and they can't hear anything that's going on in there. But once they open the doors, it's fair game, and you have to be on your guard the entire time that it's fair game. Everybody does. Managers, coaches, clubhouse people, trainers. I mean, everybody. Anybody associated with the club has to be on their guard the entire time when the media is there.
And one of the other writer who had the recording of Arcia did not mention him in the article because she went on Twitter and said, I just didn't know who said it. I didn't see who said it, but I heard it and I have it recorded. I couldn't figure out whose voice it was. So I wrote it in the article, but didn't put a name because I didn't know. But Jake knew who it was because he saw it happen. And what she mentioned was, what if this happened on live TV? What if they were doing a break, a TV reporter in the locker room, and this was caught on there? Would they be at fault for this? No. It said media's there.
Again, when the media is allowed in, it's your responsibility at that point. I mean, everybody associated with the team, whether it's the media relations staff, the manager, the coaches, the equipment manager, the assistant equipment manager, the groundskeeper, whatever, right? The players all have to be on their guard until everybody's ushered out and the door is shut. Then at that point, then it can't get out at that point, because now it is a sanctuary, and now if it does get out, it's because somebody did violate. That is within the structure of the organization. But when the media is there, he wasn't on his guard. He got caught. And a team that got caught out was the Braves, because they lost 3-1 in the series. Right.
And it now means we have the AL and NLCS's set. Rangers facing off against the Astros and the Diamondbacks and those Philadelphia Phillies. Two very intriguing series for quite a lot of reasons.
The only division champion that's there is Houston.
It's because Texas blew it away at the end.
Well, it would have been either way. There would have been one or the other. Houston would have been the wild card. You would have had a different matchup, but
it's going to be fun watching some good old baseball.
Starts on Monday, by the way. I'll tell you, the Diamondbacks are an interesting team. Corbin Carroll's a terrific player. Christian Walker is a terrific player. Marte's a good, solid player, right? We all know Evan Longoria has been through this before. They're a good defensive team. They're pitching, especially Zach Gallen, the former Cardinals. Zach was a third-round pick. Good, solid 17-game winner. Their bullpen is very, very good. And Paul Sewald has been an outstanding closer. Rob Thompson used his bullpen last night in the end, a brilliant way. He was using his top relievers in high-leverage situations. They got away with it because the Rojas play was the play of the game. You could talk about Castellanos, 2 home runs, the whole thing. But Rojas, and he almost botched it, right? But he caught it. He doesn't get that ball, okay? We're talking about Game 5. Because that would have cleared the bases. That would have cleared everything. Because there was 2 outs and everybody's running. I mean, all 3 guys would have scored. Okay? Atlanta would have taken the lead, and all of a sudden, and that place would have been
quiet.
Quiet.
Would have heard quite a few attaboy Harpers from the Braves I got for that one.
But he still made the play. And Thompson, he used Alvarado early. He used Kimbrel in a certain spot. Gets away with getting. I mean, Soto's okay. He's okay. He's not great, but he closed out. And look, the bottom line is the Phillies, they're set up. Zach Wheeler can pitch Game 1. Aaron Nola can pitch Game 2, and now it's a different dynamic. Instead of a best of 5, you now have a best of 7. So it's a different dynamic where if Arizona gets a split, in Philadelphia, for whatever reason, the Phillies have plenty of time to make up for it.
Yeah, and Wheeler can probably go Game 4 or 5 again. Nola will be able to go Game 5 or 6.
I would say Wheeler would go Game 5, Nola would go Game 6.
But the fact that you're sitting at that point, then all of a sudden with these guys being able to go 2 games apiece.
Okay, this isn't the Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax era where okay, let's go out 3 times.
What was it? Bumgarner went out 3 times in the World Series, games 1, 4, and 7 or something. Doesn't happen often.
But it was a relief appearance against Kansas City. Was the third one. But
even that doesn't happen often.
I'll never forget Sandy Koufax, because of Yom Kippur, did not pitch Game 1. Don Drysdale did. He pitched Games 2, 5, and 7 on 2 days rest. And they won.
It's called being a great pitcher.
Yes. Bob Gibson, Games 1, 4, 7, 1, 4, 7. Bob Gibson made 9 starts in his career. All of them were Games 1, 4, and 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Today, He's getting close to 60 pitches.
I was going to say, Steve, I wonder, do you think Rob Thompson's going to say, Wheeler, you have a perfect game through 5. You've got 80 pitches. I'm going to pull you. I'm sorry. I'm going to Blake Snell you. Think that's going to happen?
No. And this is the reason why. He did the right thing, in my opinion. I know he gave up a home run. So what? Mm-hmm. He did the right thing, in my opinion, and sent Wheeler out for Game 7. I am big on this theory. If they haven't been able to touch you to this point, maybe they can't touch you. Mm-hmm. Like, you're just better tonight. I always factor that in. That's why I was talking about Lopez last week for the Twins. He is, and remember I brought that up with Scott Lauber on the show on Wednesday, said he is the anti-analytics guy. Mm-hmm. First time through the order, 249. Second time through the order, 238. Oh, wait, no. The analytics that says that can't happen. Third time through the order, 229. The guys at MIT are going to just take those stats out. They don't help our cause.
Just add like 50 to each one. Each 50 points.
You do. Okay. Just on the last one, make that 279. That would look better for us. But yeah, it's to me, there are certain guys you've got to take out because there's a certain shelf life for them in the game. And there are certain guys you look at, and Wheeler's one of them, where you give him a little longer leash, especially if you can tell he's on. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay, he's on, so let him go.
If you have a hot hand, ride the hot hand.
Right. If I've got Garrett Cole out there, he's got the spider attack working. What? No.
Oh, come on. He had a great year. You can't even say he didn't.
Bad thing to say.
You had to sneak one in. Episode 100, you had to sneak at least one jab into one of my teams. Had to get it somewhere.
He'll be the Cy Young Award winner in the American League this year. But if I've got Garrett Cole out there, you're darn right I'm throwing him out there in the 7th inning if he's got everything going. I'm not even thinking twice about it.
No.
Hey, again, I'm big on, hey, my guy's going. Okay. Guess what? They can't touch him. Let's just see how long it goes until they can finally get somebody to break through against him.
I believe their old adage is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Now, there are other guys you look at right away and go, okay, geez, I found religion today. I was trying to, so I walked in, I said, Lord, please, if you can give me 5 innings.
You get that 6th inning and you say, I don't know about that one.
I think we've kind of gone as far as we can here today.
I always love seeing certain pitchers going and they're in the 6th inning and they get like the first batter they walk, the coach comes out like, you're done.
You're done. You're out.
They clearly were just like, we're going to ride him until he lets something up, and then he's out. Pull immediately.
It's a bunt. It's enough. Obviously, they've got you figured out. He bunted.
Oh, he hit him my pitch? Oh, you're out. Sorry.
Like, oh, jeez.
Pop fly 385 to dead center. You're out. I don't care.
But the key is, at this time of the year, that does come into play is the minimum 3 batter rule. Mm-hmm. So you can't just, here we
single
go.
Single batter it.
You can't do that.
I enjoy that rule, I have to say. I know a lot of people don't because of the idea of but it got to a point where it was problematic, where the Rays were doing that with Snell. They'd pull him and use 8 pitchers the rest of the game. And it's like, what are you doing? There's 8 batters to go and used 8 pitchers. Right. Like, that's a little bit.
Well, they were doing it to speed the game up.
Yeah.
Okay, here he comes in. Okay. Now, for one thing, the bullpen's way out there.
Yeah.
Right? You couldn't have the bullpen behind.
How many bullpens are on the side now? Like San Francisco, I think, has it. There's like maybe 2 others that ever have that now.
Yeah, but why can't it be like underneath, next to the clubhouse?
Put it. There's a batting cage right there. Put a pitching mound inside.
Yeah,
do that. Just have them walk right out.
Right, and then you can sell the seats where the bullpen used to be. Oh, now I'm appealing to management. Oh, hey.
Did you say more money, Steve?
More cash.
More green. I like the sound of that.
You make a lot of sense.
A lot of this is adding up, Steve.
Just like I've talked about, they need to loosen the rules and allow college football or college basketball to sell something on the sleeve. I mean, you see it in baseball. You see it, right? You see it in the NFL. Now, the NFL, it's actually just practice jerseys. But
the only sport that's perfected the sales thing is soccer.
Right. Oh yeah, you don't
chest.
Even, you don't even know which
patch,
team. You don't
patch,
even
back.
know which team you're watching.
They have something in the middle. They have something here, some on the back of the neck, and on their shorts.
It's the Emirates team. No.
That was my problem for years. My friend, bless her soul, she did not know what team I was a fan of, and she said, "Oh, you're a fan of Emirates, right?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What Emirates team?" And she's like, "No, like Emirates. You wear their jersey all the time." And I said, "No, that's just the sponsor." She's like, No. It's always on the front of their jersey." And I said, "That's the sponsor." She said, "No, it's not." And I said, "Yeah, it is."
Well, I mean, but that's the way it is in golf now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're going to play in the Travelers. Oh, okay. Now, I know where the Travelers is. Okay, have been on the course. Okay. But does anybody in Colorado, where the hell is that tournament?
Where's the Waste Management Open, Steve?
That's in Scottsdale. Okay. TPC Scottsdale have had dinner at the 18th hole.
Sorry.
Yes.
I did not. I was not fully aware of your
for the Fiesta Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We went. We had dinner on that. When you look at the Waste Management Open, right, you can see at the 18th hole. There's that patio. That's where we had dinner. A whole group of us had dinner. Yeah, even Raj went.
Oh,
even Raj went. You know,
gosh darn.
You know, now we told him it was a golf course, but I mean, it was still it was.
Well, speaking of football, change of subject here.
By the way, did you see Jerry Valeri today? I mean, you got the homecoming parade. He's dressed like he works for Waste Management. What the heck is that deal?
That's a Jerry question.
I mean, is he driving one of the big green trucks in it?
He's driving a truck. We'll be in the parade. I'll be in there as well, driving the Potmobile.
Will you? Really?
I will be. But who will not be in the parade is anyone from Houston or West Virginia, Steve. Did you see the end of this game by chance?
Actually, I was watching it live.
I watched the last minute.
Well, I watched the fourth quarter live. And Green's having a great game. Okay. Carter dropped a ball because the safety closed and just belted him. And it looked like it was going to be one of those, hey, look, great catch. You're in great shape. You'll get a field goal, go to overtime, tie the game. Okay. You know, they can bring Hayes out. He can score. Well, they got a fourth down play. And he throws. And they make the catch. And nobody for Houston, lays a glove on the kid. And the redshirt freshman gets in the end zone for a touchdown. You're like, wow. But then the key to all the entire, what sets everything in motion, where this will be a teaching moment for James Franklin. There are two teaching moments out of this. Things he already emphasizes to begin with anyway, but you emphasize to your team. If West Virginia kicks off from the 35, this doesn't happen. Because in all likelihood, they're going to get the ball at the 25. Instead, Green was called for excessive celebration, and they kicked off from the 20. Well, the ball ends up being returned into the 40s range. They then run the old quick out, and there's one play left. Now the second teaching moment. When you have a ball like that, and this is taught here all the time, what don't you do?
You don't tip it up.
No, but you also don't go for the interception.
You
try to do everything you can to get that thing down to the ground as fast as possible. And West Virginia didn't do that, and the kid caught the ball, and they won the game in the last play. Neil Brown wanted them to then go for the try afterward because it's a 2-point game. Now, what Houston would have done is Houston would have lined up for a 2-point conversion, taken a knee and left. That's what they would have done.
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of lining, you don't line up to kick it.
You line up for a 2-point conversion.
You line up for a 2-point conversion, take the knee, and leave. That's what you do. Right? But he wanted clarification, what's going on here? They scored, but it's still a 2-point game. It's not a 3-point game. And they ended the game right there. But that was a hard loss for West Virginia. Would have made them 5-1.
By the way, going into the fourth quarter, it was 21-17 Houston.
Yep.
That is just wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, they put up a combined 42 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching this. I'm like, oh wow, what a great comeback! Boy, this is incredible for West Virginia. A little bit of magic. They're going to be 5-1. I think it was 12 seconds left, and they scored.
12 seconds.
And the kickoff ran got it down to 7. I think the out of bounds play got it down to 3, and then the pass
49 yards.
But again, the key to the whole thing. So let's go in the way back machine. Okay, 1982, Penn State wins the national championship. One of the key moments is that Penn State drives downfield, and with 2 seconds to go, Todd Blackledge hits Kirk Bowman for a touchdown. Now, Alan Bowman, you've seen him as a quarterback. That's Kirk's son. All right. Kirk's nickname here was Stonehands. He caught 2 passes in his career as a tight end. They were both touchdowns in this game. All right. But what was the key? Everybody goes back and they look at the McCluskey play on the sideline. Was his foot in or out? The Nebraska people are just adamant it's an incomplete pass. Okay. But the key to the entire drive was that on the kickoff, Nebraska was called for a personal foul. And instead of starting from the 20, because this is back then when you started from the 20 on a touchback, Penn State started the drive from the 35. And it made all the difference. And that was what happened last night. They had to kick off from the 20 instead of the 35. And instead of the possibility of a touchback, they ended up with the ball in the mid-40s. And that set this entire sequence of disaster up.
Because it then means you can go for that quick out, get to midfield, get to the 49, and then you've got a manageable throw for pretty much any quarterback.
I do not know what Green did. They never did show it. It's the same people in charge of at TBS as to whether he went around and strike 3. I'd like to say it. I mean, you got like 5. How many cameras you got here? 3? No, you got to have more than 3. That's right. Usually there's a camera that follows the quarterback. He was the one that was called for it. But that's what set up the entire sequence of disaster. That's why I go back to the 82 game here. Penn State had to go 65 yards instead of 80 because of that penalty. And I've always felt to this day that 15 yards made a difference beyond words. In a game, by the way, Penn State dominated. They dominated. And they missed 4 field goals, Penn State. And and here's one of the great trivia questions of all time. Why was it 27-24?
Why was it?
Because Massimo missed the extra point after the touchdown. After the game-winning touchdown, he missed the extra point. Now remember, this is the same guy that was a big reason why Penn State won the national title in '86. Nick Gancitano had been hurt. In fact, I just saw Nick 3 weeks ago. Nick Gancitano had been hurt, so Massimo's a true freshman, had to fill in. And I know it's an illness. I remember all this.
It is an illness. Remember all of this. I barely know what I ate for breakfast today.
I had a small muffin. That was it.
I had banana 30 minutes ago as my breakfast.
Yeah.
Just before we started.
Yeah. But it's the most important meal of the day.
It is the most important meal of the day, but I whiffed.
No. I had like one of those mini muffins. I had nothing. I had 2 cups of coffee. But yeah, but these are all teaching moments. And so I see something like that, and the first thing I thought was the 82 Penn State-Nebraska game. That penalty set up and gave Penn State 15 yards it didn't need to pick up. Well, that kickoff, instead of starting at the 25, they started at the 45, 44? Yeah. That was 20 yards, right, that it was handed to them because of that penalty.
It was. And you mentioned the number 82. Or the year 82, technically, in this case. You know what else is 82? The number of games played in an NBA season. And apparently the league is pushing hard to players that this is an 82-game season, not just a playoff stretch. It is a regular season of 82 games. And this is coming from the executive VP and head of basketball operations, Mr. Joe Dumars, is pushing it heavily to players. I think this is so intriguing. The new player participation policy, who it's targeting at, all the award situations with now you have to play 65 games for them. All of it is getting really interesting with what the league is doing because, of course, their TV deal is coming up shortly. And so they're kind of saying to players, we need you to play, because we kind of want to make some money. And if we make money, you make money. And it's getting to a point now where it's a little bit funny, I think, to an extent, where there's just so much going on. You've got these tournament games now going on during the season. Teams are playing an 83rd game now, as well as tiebreakers if they have to. So much is going on. I'm really intrigued by this NBA season.
All right, so let's start with Joe Dumars, who, by the way, is a player that I just really liked.
Awesome player.
Isaiah Thomas got all the publicity. I remember when they got to the finals, and I was doing this show, and Detroit won the finals, won it. And I remember saying on the show, specifically, I said, the guy who will be the key of the series is Joe Dumars. Because everything was Isaiah. And I think they were playing the Lakers, I
think so.
So it was, Isaiah, Magic. I said, Joe Dumars will be like, and it turned out he was the MVP. So in his career, he played 82, 79, 82, 69, 75, 80, 82, 77. So this guy, like, even tail end of his career, 79, 72.
Outside of his last season, he would be up for awards every single year.
But the point is he played all the time.
Give me a player. Name any player for me who plays today.
Name any player that plays today?
We'll go Kawhi Leonard. We'll say you say
Kawhi Leonard's been the first guy to think of. I think he's barely played 60 games in the season.
He has played a total of 11 seasons.
Yeah.
Outside of the injury one, because that one he got hurt 9 games in.
No. That's you always have to factor that in.
Outside of that season, he's played 10 total seasons. He has to have played 65 games to get into the award conversation. How many times do you think he eclipsed 65 games?
In his career?
In his career.
3 times.
3 times is correct. He got it in 2013-14. He played 66 games. In 2015-16, when he was an all-star, he got 72. The year after that was 74. Then, of course, he got hurt the year afterwards, and then he was in Toronto and LA and on a pitch count and all that stuff and missed a season due to his ACL.
Yep.
So, like, he is who they're targeting, is been discussed heavily, but he came out during media day and said, there is no policy that's going to make me play more games if I'm hurt. And he's right.
Well, he's not incorrect. Look, I've said, how many times have I said, if you're hurt, you're hurt. I got it. If you're injured, no way in heck are you playing. Okay? I've always said that. I've always put that in as a caveat. What bothers me is when you're a healthy scratch. That is so wrong. Okay? It's wrong beyond words because I've got all these people that showed up to see you, and you're a healthy scratch? Well, excuse me. If somebody goes in and said, "I'd like my money back," okay, let's do the Steph Curry Cleveland Cavalier game where the father and the son, like the young man wanted to see Steph Curry play.
Yeah.
Nope. It turned out because they'd played X amount of games, and Steve Kerr's like, "Yeah, it's too bad, but it's just we got to do things like that." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You're like, actually, no, you don't. You're playing basketball. Okay. Yeah, and you have an obligation. You are okay. So let's go to the triangle. By the way, just a quick note: Penn State basketball is scrimmaging Villanova tonight. Okay, just so you know, it's down at Villanova. I refer to it as the double secret probation scrimmage. So nobody's allowed in. I would like to point out that Dick Girardi will be there. Okay, so.
So no one's allowed in then.
Right. You'll be walking in with the team.
But part of the Kawhi thing,
I helped arrange it.
Yeah, of course. Of course you did. You know everybody. You know everybody, everything,
no,
Steve.
No. But, so, all right. I'll retell the Larry Bird story. Right? So let's just retell it. I know everybody's like, okay, here's the Larry Bird story again. We all know Bird. Right. He ends up hurting his back because he's putting in a concrete driveway for his mother. Okay. Like, you couldn't have hired somebody. But that's not the way the Birds were brought up. Okay? You do it yourself. Right? My brother and I are the same way with how we were brought up with our parents. Like, you can do it, do it. So he hurts his back. So if you recall later in his career, and this is obviously before you're born, but you probably have seen videos of Larry laying face down on the sideline for games near the end of his career because that was because of his back. So they're playing, and he goes in to see the team therapist, and he starts working on Larry's back. It's like 10 in the morning. And he works on the back, and like a couple minutes in, he can't make anything with his muscle structure move. And he says, Larry, look, he says, you're going to have to rest this thing. You're going to have to probably sit for a week. He says, I cannot do anything with this. And Larry says, okay. So later in the day, after the doctor's done with all of his appointments, he finally gets himself over to Boston Garden, and he sees the team doctor and the team trainer. And he tells me, he says, hey, guys, I tried everything I could to work on Larry this morning. I could not get anything in his lower back, right, the muscles to move. I just couldn't. He just was like a knot. He says, he said, my recommendation is he's got to sit a week. He said, so you're not going to have him tonight. And the two of them looked down like, we're not going to have him tonight. He says, no. He says, he can't play tonight. He's going to have to sit a week. He says, he's playing tonight. He said, no, he can't play tonight. And he said, well, he's out there warming up right now. So, doctor's not happy. Bird plays in the game. Celtics win. Goes into the locker room. That's sanctuary, by the way.
Of course.
He says, hey, my office tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Be there. He says, all right. So Larry goes in, 10 o'clock next morning. He's there. Doctor comes in, looks at him. And I got this story from a good friend that knows Larry Bird very well. So this is I'm not speaking out of turn. And the doctor gives it to him, but good. Look, I'm the doctor. You're the patient. I can't make anything in your muscle structure and your lower back move. He says, I know what's best for you. I know what's best, right? Long term, the whole deal. But he goes through chapter and verse and just lays into him. And Larry Bird sits there and, okay, all right. Then finally, doctor's finished. And Larry Bird looks at him and says, okay. He said, with all due respect, is it now my turn to talk? He goes, yeah. He says, I respect everything you're saying. But, so there's a family in the upper deck that may or may not been to a Celtics game before. And they are expecting to see me play. And it would be a tremendous disappointment to them if I didn't play in the game. I owe it to them to be out there. He says, do you understand where I'm coming from now? And the doctor looked at him. He says, I see what you're saying. We'll work together to make this work. Right? Every athlete, and by the way, Magic Johnson was like this. Michael Jordan was like this. Michael Jordan, his last year with the Washington Wizards, played all 82 games. His last year with the Washington Wizards, he played all 82 games. And played, for the most part, 82 games, or 81 or 82 almost every season in his career. The second season he hurt his knee, so I think he played 18. Then the retirement season, where he was playing baseball, doesn't count.
Yeah, outside of the retirement season and the knee season, there was only a single time he played under 81 games, and that was in 92-93. He played 78.
Yeah.
That was it. The rest he got 80, 81, or 82.
I think he played 18 games in his knee year, and he played 17 in his...
18 knee, 17. And he also played 60 in the first year with the Wizards.
Right.
He didn't get full 82 that year, but that's it.
Okay. This is the old school work ethic that, laid a foundation for the fact that the league is as popular as it is today. Hockey players play. Do you ever hear about load management with hockey players? Do you ever hear about load management with baseball players? Right? I mean, baseball, look, you play 162 games. So, hey, by the way, we played 7 games in a row, like 7 games, 7 days. Mm-hmm. Here's the 8th day. Hey, by the way, we have a game scheduled tonight. You're off.
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, you know what? We'll DH you tonight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But the NBA guys have taken it to an extreme. And when you think about, and again, Steph Curry has a sterling reputation, so this is not an anti-Steph Curry. And in fact, I'd be one of the last people because I just love how he plays the game. But he was a prime example. The father and the son went to the game.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they're entitled to walk over and go, hey, excuse me, I want my money back.
Mm-hmm.
How about all the Dallas Mavericks fans? Last game of the season. They win the game. They're in the playoffs as the 10 seed. But in order to get a better draft pick, which, by the way, didn't work out in terms of, like, placement.
Well, they kept their draft pick was the point for them.
Right. And they ended up with Derek Lively.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek's going to be a good player for them. But they were trying to get, like, high up in the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't get higher up in the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But they tanked the last game of the season. And all those people who bought tickets, right? I mean, which seed made the finals this year? The 8.
Do you know what the worst, even worse part of that whole story was? Do you know what night it was for them? It was Slovenian national night. It was meant to be like Luka's night.
Yep.
Everyone there.
Yep.
There was fans from Slovenia that came over.
Yep. Didn't
play. And even he was just like, I'm sorry I couldn't play. And you could tell he was mad. It wasn't his fault. He wanted to be out there, and he was told, "No, we're not playing you."
Right. That was a management decision. That was not the players'
because Luka wanted to play,
right.
And he was told no, and he was just like, "What?"
I'm not saying playing 82 games of NBA basketball with all the travel and so forth, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's different now. Okay, when Russell and Chamberlain, right, and George Mikan and those guys, they traveled by train, car, commercial flight, right? Okay. They don't have that now.
Mm-hmm.
They have charters. Okay. Now, and I've flown. Now, a lot of teams have now since maybe sold their planes because you got to be able to keep. But you can get charters, right? A lot of these, because Penn State flew a lot of the NBA team planes: Hawks, Spurs, Caps, Bruins, Penguins plane. All sorts of like NBA team planes, Hornets. All right. So I've been on them. I know what they're like. They're all first class seats.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've got different charters, but they're all getting the first class charters.
Oh yeah.
All right. And we were, after Penn State beat Northwestern on the Cam Winter shot in overtime, the Bulls were coming back from Toronto. And so the players all saw DeMar DeRozan, and so they wanted to get pictures with them because it turned out the timing was perfect. The Bulls were literally, this is on the tarmac. This is not on the tarmac. The Bulls were getting off their plane as Penn State was getting on their plane. So all the Penn State players wanted their pictures with
DeMar and Levine and Vooch and all of them.
Exactly, all of them, which was it was fun to see because it's like, hey, this is now Seth Lundy is now playing against DeMar DeRozan, right? Actually won the game the other night, preseason game. But today, I'm not saying it's not easy, but they travel first class on first class charter planes because they have planes that are first class charters. First class charter planes. They'll have a therapist, physical therapist. They have the training staff. They have now training regiments where they're chipped and where the training is better now. They've got everything that the players of way back when, like we talk about Larry Bird and his back. Well, they didn't have any of that stuff back when he played.
And the NBA this year has been like, we basically made it so there's almost no back-to-backs. And the back-to-backs that happen are primetime TV games.
Right.
They've tried their best to make it so there's as much downtime as possible so you can be healthy to play games. And if there's a primetime game, it's almost never on a back-to-back. It's almost always on its own on a Sunday or something. But that's what they tried to do.
But they've got everything at their disposal. They have their own nutritionist. They have their own therapist. They have, everything you can ask for, they have. Everything that the team can provide, they give to them. Okay? This is not the Savannah Bananas. You know what I mean? The Savannah Bananas are, they're a barnstorming all over the place, entertaining baseball team. But guess what? The Savannah Bananas are not traveling first class on a charter. All right? These guys are staying at all 5-star hotels. I remember doing the NCAA tournament in Atlanta, and it turned out, as luck would have it, because it's all luck of the draw as to what hotel you get. Penn State got the Ritz-Carlton in Atlanta. One of the nicest beds I ever slept in. It's like, wow, okay. But the San Antonio Spurs were staying there. Right? Also the players are riding up with Sean Elliott. It's like, wow, okay. But this is where they stay. They stay in 5-star hotels. Okay? They are not getting roadway in points. So they're traveling on charters, point A to point B, that are all first class with all the leg room they need, with nutritionists, with physical therapists, massage needed, whatever, okay? Cold tubs, hot tubs, okay? Because the technology is exponentially better now. They stay at the nicest hotels. And you're telling me that you need tonight off? Okay. For a fan who doesn't make anywhere near the money that they make, not even in the same realm.
Not in the same stratosphere.
And it's a big deal for them to see you play, especially in a league where the marquee has the name of the player first, then the team. Come on out, see Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers tonight. That's how this league has built itself.
Let's see LeBron and the Lakers.
Okay, it's Chuck and the Suns against Michael and the Bulls. Okay.
Magic and the Lakers.
Right.
Larry Bird and the Celtics.
Right. It's LeBron and the Lakers against Jokic and the Nuggets. Okay, Luka is out there against
Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant, Pickett,
and Giannis. Okay, Jason Tatum and the Celtics, and Jaylen Brown and the Celtics take on, Joel Embiid and the Sixers. Okay, that the names are at the front on the marquee, then the name of the team. You can't build your league like that and then have guys go, you know what, I'm tired.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it is a consumer-based product. I always talk about the triangle. Whenever there's a work stoppage, the Players Association will always say, you can't have the game without the players. Over here in the back, absolutely true. You are absolutely correct about that. But at the same time, you can't have the game without owners. People that pay the freight, the organizations, everything that goes with it, the number of people that work there. It doesn't matter whether somebody's in charge of social media accounts, whatever it may be. Right? You can't have it without the owners, without ownership. Because when the NFL went on strike many years ago, they decided to organize basically an AFC, NFC pickup game among the striking players. Nobody watched. Nobody watched. The game was televised. Nobody watched. Right? But here's the third part of the triangle. You are nothing without the fans.
Who's watching you?
We watched in 2020 studio games. I did games in arenas that had between 50 and 200 people. I did games in stadiums where there were cardboard cutouts and no human beings besides players and coaches.
The NBA bubble. Literally just players and then some reporters. Very minimal people.
Minimal. And guess what? The ratings, I assume that, hey, we're all hostage to this thing, so you're just going to watch TV, whatever. No. Worst NBA Finals ratings when the Lakers beat the Heat. Like I'm talking like normally you're talking about maybe Anywhere from a 13 to an 18, whatever. Got a 4.
Yeah, it was bad.
Got a 4. 4? But that's LeBron. Got a 4.
People are watching Tiger King instead.
Right. Okay. Fans are the ones that buy the merchandise. Fans are the ones that buy the tickets. Fans are the ones that provide the juice. Look at Philadelphia last night. Okay, the juice of that crowd and the whole
rocking.
thing. I mean, the place was rocking, and it's going to rock for the Diamondbacks as well. It's a city sort of desperate for any kind of championship.
Yeah.
I got it. It hasn't been a good run. Yeah, 2 World Series titles, 1 Super Bowl.
Made it to the NBA Finals.
Haven't won the NBA since '83. Haven't won the Stanley Cup since '75. It's been tough. So they are desperate, and they are out there in force.
Yeah.
Beaver Stadium, Penn State football is averaging 110,000.
It's wild. It's crazy.
They're averaging 110,000. They're thousands above the capacity of the stadium. 110,000. The juice, the energy, everything they provide.
The stadium literally shook. It was shaking at the whiteout.
But sports is nothing without the consumer, without the fans. And you can't backhand the fans the way the NBA does.
Mm-hmm.
And they backhand them. Oh, we can do whatever we want. And you actually have reporters, and I think because they're close to the players, which helps them get their information and so forth, back them up. What the hell are you backing them up for? Okay, your job is to be the liaison between the player and the fan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Okay, guess who also needs the fans? The reporter.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody's reading you, what? It's just words on paper. Okay? And you're telling everybody it's okay? It's not okay. Okay? There's 300, next year it'll be 366, but there's 365 days in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well, guess what? In 283 of them, there are no NBA games. That's a big number.
Mm-hmm. It's quite a lot.
In 283 of the 365 days, your NBA team is not playing, excluding the playoffs. I'm talking about regular season.
Yeah, 82 games. That's it.
Right? 283. Nothing. 82? Yeah. So you couldn't show up to work. I mean, you know who needs load management? I'll tell you exactly the person that needs load management. The single mother of 3 who wakes up every day, gets ready for work, makes her children breakfast, makes sure her children get to the bus stop, makes sure that she's to work on time, busts her backside working all day. Some days are good, some days are like anybody at work.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that she gets home in time so when they get off the bus, or has made arrangements for them to get off the bus, gets home, make sure the kids do their homework, make sure the kids have a good dinner, maybe read them a bedtime story if depending on the age of the child, right? Gets them to sleep. And then the next day, she gets up early. She gets herself ready. She makes sure that, hey, come on, we got to get going. Everybody get dressed. Lays out the clothes the night before. All right. Come on. Breakfast, come on. Got to eat breakfast. Okay. We got to get to the bus stop. Boom, all right. And goes back and does it again. And today may be better than yesterday, or it may be worse at work than yesterday. Right? And then at the end gets a paycheck. And then says, oh, geez, now I got to go to the grocery store. The car's not working right. I got to get the car into the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She needs load management, not an NBA millionaire player who has a staff of people around him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think when the Mercedes goes bad that they personally drive it over to the dealership?
Mm-mm.
She needs load management.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what she does on Wednesday? Same thing she did on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? In this world, I don't want to hear about your problems with load management because I've got millions of people out there that need load management exponentially more than you do. And it doesn't mean I don't respect how hard you play, the effort you put in, the physical pounding that is put in. I got all that. If you are hurt, I'll be the first person to say you're hurt and you need to be out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're injured, hey, look, I know you're going to need time to get back. So whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first person to say that. But if you're a healthy scratch because you're tired, what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The consumer, the mother of three, may have saved up enough money because her kids love the NBA and they want to see. I'm not going to do a specific player because that'll be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? They want to see a specific player play because that team is coming to their town, or it's a home game, and hey, I finally got tickets to see X team play. And that's the night it's load management. And guess what? The kids are disappointed. She's disappointed. And guess what happens the next day? She has to get up early, get herself ready, get the kids ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? She needs load management, not the healthy scratch.
Mm-mm.
That's me.
I agree.
It's old-fashioned, but...
I had to get one soccer reference in here. Messi, they have a 36-game schedule.
Yeah.
Or 38-game schedule, depending on which league
I guess
you're
they
in.
sold out Chicago, right?
Yeah. But let's not including this MLS season because this one he's currently hurt. We're not including
Right, I
this
know
right
he's
now.
hurt. Yeah.
But outside
Again,
of this
if you're
season,
hurt, you're hurt.
You're hurt. But outside of this season, he played 38 games per season for Barcelona. Mm-hmm. And then you've got cup matches and Champions League matches.
Yeah.
You'd play 60 to 70 games a season on average. Mm-hmm. In between 2007, when he became like a household player and he was playing constantly, between then, when he left Barcelona in 2019, he played 60 plus games every season, but one. And that is because he hurt his knee.
Right.
Outside of that year, he played every game.
Right.
The best player in the world was not missing a game.
Right.
He would get knocked up. Doesn't matter. He's playing.
Yeah.
People want to see him play, and he understood that.
You have an obligation.
Mm-hmm.
And again, in the end, in reality, without fans, you actually are not a big deal. Fans make you a big deal.
Fans do make you a big deal. But, Steve, you're always a big deal.
Oh,
you're on
yeah,
Sports Talk with Seven Mountains Media.
For goodness sakes.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a Seven Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football to European soccer, Steve and Kyle cover it all.